Hey guys, how you doing? Back at it again. It's getting easier. Fifth run in what, 3 weeks or something like that. So breathing's starting to get better. Post Christmas slackness is disappearing, which is good. People seem to be liking my videos. I hear from friends and students that they're enjoying them, and so I kind of pick my brains as I'm jogging through the forest about what I can talk about next. And the last couple of runs I've been listening to Robert Drysdale's audio books on the history of Jiu Jitsu, and it's pretty interesting. It's very detailed, goes back a very long way, and as always, the whole Judo versus Jiu Jitsu thing comes up, like, oh, Jiu Jitsu is just Judo and all this sort of stuff, and it kind of drives me a little bit nuts. I understand the history of both arts pretty well, having done both quite a bit, and my judo coaches having been super high ranked guys, 8th degree black belts from the Kodokan, national selectors, national champions, guys who train university Japanese teams, right? So I'm not surrounded by idiots when it comes to judo, and of course my jiu-jitsu association and heritage kind of speaks for itself. But just about my own experiences, I started judo. Dad did judo in the military, so I started kind of throwing things around and being thrown when I was like 5 years old. So I did judo from like 5 or 6 through till about 9 or something like that, right? When I started getting into karate and striking arts and things like that. But I always really liked it. I didn't like getting squashed and held down, beaten up by girls, which was the norm when I was really young. But in terms of the art itself, it's really interesting that I understand that judo, and I know why judo was called judo, why Jigoro Kano created it, and why there was some confusion, especially in the early days where judo and jiu-jitsu were like literally interchangeable names, because the practice of them, in terms of a martial art, was very similar, right? I mean, judo decided to go off on a very sportive aspect, and like wanted to kind of distance itself from the violent nature of jiu-jitsu and the military style of jiu-jitsu. But having trained with, even as a white belt in jiu-jitsu, I mean, yes, I was a really fit athlete and stuff like that, but as a white belt, I would regularly beat high-level judo black belts. So when they're talking about like, like the Newaza, the ground fighting of judo is just judo, it's always been there, like jiu-jitsu hasn't invented anything, and it astounds me, because you would think high-level judo black belts, or even just judo black belts, would have something to offer a jiu-jitsu white belt, and they had nothing. I mean, yes, if they get you in kisakatami, they've got a very strong kisakatami, and that can be very annoying. But as soon as you learn like how to prevent it, how to like just pass their arm over their head and take their back, like that's done, right? I'm just talking about my experiences. So when I got into jiu-jitsu at 27, so 97, then I immediately, when we were doing jiu-jitsu, we were doing some throwing, a lot of double legs, and a lot of no-gi, MMA, valid judo, striking and stuff. And so I saw that there was a bit of a shortage of throwing, so I went back and started training with my old judo coaches. And even with the little bit of jiu-jitsu that I'd learned, so I'm talking 6 months of white belt jiu-jitsu, I was already owning all the black belts on the ground. I mean, stand-up wise, yes, when I'm training with the guys in the national team, they'll end up throwing me, as you would expect. But the whole point for me of a martial art is that who wins the fight, not who starts it, not who can throw who, but who ends the fight, who ends up winning, like basically who ends up dying. Because that's what tapping is. Tapping is a recognition that, yeah, if you'd continued, you would have killed me. Broken my arm, choked me unconscious, killed me, whatever. And so, you know, I would be competitive standing, but, you know, with high-level judo guys, they'd kill me, right? But ultimately, as soon as we hit the ground, done. Within 30 seconds to a minute, they'd be done. And so, but then all the judo guys go, oh yeah, but Kosen judo has amazing ground fighting. I'm like, so why don't you do more of that? Like, why make it such an unbalanced art if it's a martial art? Yeah. Anyway, so that's just my experiences. I mean, I wish I could do judo now. My neck and back are way too screwed. You know, I had to stop doing it after I wrecked my neck in like 2007. So that was annoying. I used to love going over every Friday night. I'd go train with Yamada Sensei, who was an incredible judoka. He's passed away now, which is really sad. He was a beautiful, incredible guy, you know. But again, he used to like absolutely wet himself laughing when I'd be rolling with all of his guys. He'd come along and laugh and point at them and ha ha ha, Rob got you again, you know. And I mean, it wasn't the best thing for like developing my friendship with the judokas there, you know. Like a couple of them didn't just, you know, they didn't have big egos and they didn't care. They were interested in what I did, but like, yeah, Yamada just loved stirring the pot and stirring shit and creating drama with me and his guys. Like the very first night I went there, I didn't know what belt to wear. And he ended up just taking his own belt off, his own black belt with all the stripes and stuff on it, and gave it to me, put it on my waist. And I was like, oh shit, like, this is not good. This is not going to end well. They're going to want to kill me. And there was only one guy who really took objection to it, you know, because like they could tell I wasn't comfortable with it. I mean, it did elevate my expectations of myself. And so sometimes I will grab my black belt and throw it on a student and go, now fight. And now fight like that's your belt. Instantly they get better. I see it every time. You fight according to the belt that you're wearing. If you get given a higher grade belt, you will lift your standard to that. Because I did. Like that night when he put that on me, when we went to do Randori, I remember it because he has this one touch, one throw thing. You know, and we bowed, I touched the guy, blam, throw, like instantly, instant ippon. It was awesome, right? You know, like that guy had beef with me anyway, and now he had double beef, right? But the whole judo and jiu-jitsu thing, I've always seen them as like cousins. They're cousins in the martial arts, you know, like in their entirety. There's kick, punch, throw, grapple, and weapons. Yeah, right? And again, depending on the school, it's kind of like jiu-jitsu, depending on the school that you go to and the lineage and affiliation that they have, then that's going to largely dictate like what you learn and the philosophy of the place, the culture of the gym. You know, are you putting on the gloves and smashing each other in the face? You know, are you all wearing pink and purple, keep jiu-jitsu gay, bloody no-gi outfits, and it's a competition to see who looks like a unicorn, which I fucking hate, right? I can't stand that shit, right? If you're that bored that you need to like wear ridiculous outfits to practice the art, then I don't think it's the art for you. That's me personally, yeah? We just have white gis, everyone wears the same thing, forget about the fucking outfit, focus on what you're doing, and find enjoyment. There's 150, 200 years worth of jiu-jitsu out there to learn, right? After 30 odd years, I'm learning every day. Like there is so much to learn, and there's so much interesting jiu-jitsu that you don't need a ridiculous outfit to try and fucking stand out. Maybe it's some Instagram cool thing, but I really hate it. I like everyone just wearing basic fucking colors. Keep it really simple. Don't worry about that. The whole point of having a uniform is so that, like, whether you're a lawyer or a doctor or a surgeon or a street cleaner or a uni student, you're all the same. Yeah? Not one guy turning up in a $1,500 gi and it's all coloured and purple and whatever the fuck it is, and then you've got some guy here who's you know, a uni student who's broke, who can just buy the base model fucking gi, you know, like that's not cool. I don't like that. Everyone wears the same thing so that the only thing you care about is your jiu-jitsu, yeah, and your practice of that, and your development of that, and the development of your skill and your character and everything else. But you don't need $500 gis and all this sort of shit to do that. That's my approach, right? Don't like it, don't join my gym. I don't care, right? But when it comes to judo and jiu-jitsu, I see them as highly complementary, you know, but to get really highly proficient in judo and really highly proficient in jiu-jitsu, most people don't have the time to do both, you know. And again, what are the downsides, the pros of doing judo? Well, I mean, it's great to be super confident on your feet and stuff like that. They don't hit each other very much, or they don't hit each other at all. But I like it. I don't like the super short time limits and stuff like that. As soon as you get one throw, you just get an ippon throw, match is over. I'm not a fan of that. You know, because I'm like, fight till the fight's over. Yeah, right? The downside with doing a lot of throwing is that you really want to have sprung mats, and they're super expensive. Yeah, crazy expensive. You know, you get 40-year-old guys coming in with injuries, as they always do, before they even start, and then you start throwing them over and over and over, and it's not long before they've got more injuries and they just leave. So to have an art that allows you to practice for a long time, avoid injury, be as safe as possible in terms of self-defense, I don't think anything beats jiu-jitsu, me personally. Having done martial arts since I was like 5 years old, done every martial art you could probably imagine, that to me, jiu-jitsu is king, and I use that all the time on social media. To me, jiu-jitsu is king. There's nothing that beats it. And now that everybody does jiu-jitsu in the UFC, everyone's like, oh, jiu-jitsu's kind of shit, whatever, MMA's king. I'm like, just go take jiu-jitsu out of MMA and stop with all the stupid rules. Yeah, just have one fight, it goes for as long as it goes, and let's see what happens. And 100%, the guys that are proficient at jiu-jitsu win like 99% of the time. Anyway, so that's my opinion and my experience in judo and jiu-jitsu. I like both. I think it's great to do both. But ultimately, if I had to choose one, I've obviously chosen it, which is jiu-jitsu. Yeah, and if you've got Audible, then jump on and listen to, I think one's called Opening Closed Guard. I haven't listened to that yet, but I'm listening to Robert Drysdale's History of Jiu-Jitsu at the moment. It's long, I think it's like 25 hours of listening, and I'm only like halfway through it, but it's very interesting. I'm enjoying it a lot, but I'm starting to cool down, so I better get running. See you guys, bye.